Whenever you're ready.
Hello, my name is Rohan, and today I'm going to be discussing the benefits of developing technology against floods. According to Gloria Dickey, who has 7 years of environmental journaling experience, flooding costed the global economy $82 billion last year, which is 1/3 of all losses due to natural catastrophes. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration stated that $4.8 billion are spent every flooding event just in the United States alone, just to recover from these floods. So this shows that floods do have a major impact on the economy, and we could use that money to prevent floods from happening. So this is a graph that displays the deaths every year due to floods. And as you can see, deaths can lead up to at most 35,000. Floods can cause up to 35,000 deaths every year in a year, and overall they usually cost around 6,000 to 7,000 deaths. Additionally, the number of floods are increasing every year, and the main reason why is global warming. So as you can see in this chart provided by climate.gov, the sea level is rising, and since the sea level is rising due to global warming, the number of floods will increase since it is easier for water to reach humans. This issue is becoming more of a problem every year, so pushing for changes is very important. Now, this may seem all bad, but there is evidence that we are improving. For example, if you look here on this graph, throughout the world, there is an increase in the number of floods every decade. But yet, if we look back here, the number of deaths has stayed pretty much consistent, showing that the ratio between the deaths and the number of floods is decreasing, showing that we are improving over time. So how have we developed technology to make the world more resilient towards floods? So in my first solution, I present improving drainage. So many developing countries lack proper systems for containing floods. So according to the National Library of Medicine, the countries are unable to fight against floods is mainly because they lack money, and they have lack of space to develop the systems, and they don't take it very seriously due to old hygiene philosophies. So government should spend more money into developing new technologies to prevent flooding from occurring, and private organizations can also help out by donating funds to develop these systems. One system in particular I want to look at is Japan's GCANS project. So if you look on the graph to the left, we can see over the past few years, the overall rainfall has increased. So, and due to that, Japan has implemented the GCANS project, which are these massive pillars that are able of containing tons and tons of water, and this has drastically affected how much damage floods are doing in Japan. According to Tamatha Roman of Metropolis, Japan, through 2014, it successfully adjusted floods and reduced devastation 85 times. To illustrate, in August 2008, when the highest ever inflow was recorded, GCANS displaced 11.72 million cubic meters of flood water that otherwise would have affected the local community. This shows that these types of technologies are effective and could make communities more resilient towards floods. So if you look at the implications and limitations of the system, so for the implications, it efficiently stores water, and that water can be reused by communities for usage for clean water. And it is a good long-term solution, as we saw with the GCANS project. There are three limitations for this. One of them is that it could be expensive. For example, it costed Japan $2 billion to make the GCANS project viable, and until the system is complete, it leaves countries vulnerable to flood, since they don't have any defense against floods until the project is complete. And it also is, it takes a very long time to develop. It took Japan 27 years to finish. But once that is done, it is a viable solution. If you look at the second solution, which is fighting against global warming, the main idea is that we are going to attack the root of floods, which is high sea level sea levels, and the increase in storms. So, since global warming is the root of this, many countries are developing systems and technologies to fight against global warming. So, and also organizations can help out by funding money to develop these systems. One specific example is the Tuvalu Future Now project, which is sort of like a not last minute, but like a last resort plan for the country. So since the sea levels are rising, Tuvalu in the Pacific Islands has found out that their country is at risk of being completely flooded. So what they're doing is that they're partnering up with Metaverse to create a digital twin of their country, so that when the natives of the country go to a safer place, they can still enjoy their home in the Metaverse instead, and they can still celebrate their culture. So this shows that humans are capable of using technology to adapt to a new situation, and they are able to become resilient by using these new technologies. So for the implication and limitations of the system, by fighting global warming, we will help reduce carbon emissions, and also which will help fight against the number of storms, which directly correlates with the number of floods, and it will slow the rate of sea level rising. If we cannot save countries from global warming, we always have the solution that Tuvalu is implementing, which is to create a digital version of their country. However, there are some limitations of this solution. One of them is that it requires a lot of resources and money that some poor countries may not be able to afford. So this may require them to make the digital version, and citizens of the country may not like the idea, and they may not be willing to switch over. And this is a long-term solution that can, and since global warming has affected the world so much, it is hard to reverse our actions. So this is a long-term solution that will take time to develop. So until then, some countries will have to be able to defend for themselves. And those are my sources.
Okay. Thank you. I have some questions. How did your research question evolve as you moved through the research process? Did your research go in a different direction than originally planned?
Originally, after reading the stimulus material, I had the question that how has the United States in particular developed technology to fight against natural disasters in general? However, while researching, I found that there are so many natural disasters, and the U.S. is fighting against them in so many different ways. So it was difficult for me to develop proper solutions and implications and limitations. So I decided to slightly change my topic and go for floods, since those can occur everywhere in the world, and because of that, I chose to broaden my perspectives to other countries as well.
Okay. Lastly, how did you use the conclusions and questions of others to advance your own research?
So some conclusions I found were that the GCANS project, if I go back to this slide, there's already been research done that certain systems are effective. So this conclusion that that drainage systems are helpful and developing them properly is effective. So that helped me decide which systems are good for a solution and which ones are not. So one example of one that didn't work out was the flooding issue in Pakistan, where many government officials are unsure of what they want to do with they're unsure on how they want to deal with the recent flooding issue that took place. So they have the funding, but they don't know how to implement it. So finding the proper systems can be important, and because of that, I look towards systems that have already worked, such as the GCANS project, and ones that could work, including the Tuvalu Futures Now project.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.